So in this video, we're going to talk about the Tiger King and how he's a wanted man in Las Vegas, and how by watching that Netflix stream, you might be basically enabling somebody who did some really horrible stuff with those exotic cats to make some money, or at least get some credit. And we're going to also talk about a blogger, a guy from Vegas who's in prison right now for pulling a horrible prank in a Walmart store. So the Tiger King story is complicated, it's intricate. I have many notes of stuff that I took on it, and it's putting myself out on a limb here. We're going to go over a long amount of history. This will be longer than the normal video. I hope you stay through to the end because it's twisty and it's turny. And if I had way more time, I'd make a proper documentary, but we don't. First of all, my name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Pound that bell for future notifications. Leave me a comment below. Stuck at home, you're going to watch the Tiger King. Maybe you don't want to after I tell you this, or maybe you're more intrigued and you just don't care, and that's okay too. And make sure if you want to be in the credits of the video, you head on over to Patreon. And if you want to see the videos that I can't put in YouTube because the content system just says, nope, those are not good topics for any YouTube channel at all, then go over to Patreon too. All right, Fox 5 News today reports that Gregory Hill is now in prison. And if you're saying, who is Gregory Hill? I was asking the exact same question. Turns out Gregory Hill is a aspiring blogger, or at least somebody who thought it would be a fun idea to make a viral video. Now look, viral videos are hard to come by nowadays. There's so much information being uploaded to all the social platforms. You have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You have all this video content. It's not like everybody just has one choice and that's YouTube. It's not like everybody's shocked by something and they want to share it with everybody. It's not the way it works. But he thought it was a good idea to walk into a Walmart store and take out his camera, put his camera onto selfie mode. See, there's me talking into my camera, and go, I'm so sick, and start coughing and sneezing and making light of the situation, because he said he saw people wearing face masks. He saw people that were paranoid. He saw people doing a run for the hand sanitizer, and he thought to himself, this ain't nothing more than a bad flu. I read all those blogs. This ain't nothing at all, this Chinese virus. So he made light of the situation, was trying to make a viral video. He thought if he uploads that, man, he could be one of those famous bloggers that he heard so much about. And now he's in prison because before he knew it, he had several police officers and security people running at him, thinking he was just basically coughing on people and spreading the disease. And that should be a crime if it's not, but it is a crime to yell fire in a crowded building when there is no fire. That's a kind of a crime, and that's exactly what he did. So now, he's in an interview. I got to give the guy credit. He has some charisma. He knows how to talk on a camera. I looked up Gregory Hill, Vegas on YouTube. I couldn't find him. But he said, I now know better. Sure you do. Yeah, he says, I saw people. I saw all the destruction and all of the horrible pain it's causing. Sure you did. Well, the good news is he's going to be stuck at home like the rest of us after he gets out of jail. But the bad news for him is that he's going to have to wear a GPS collar. So while I'm stuck at home, but I can always walk down to the gas station and get a rock star, he's really stuck at home, at least for 3 months after he gets out of jail. So that's Gregory Hill. What a story, man. I'll tell you what, viral videos, you can make them. You got to be really particular in them. You got to do things like pull on the heartstrings of people, or get them all charged up, or show something inspiring. And they got to be a certain amount of length and a certain amount of time. And heavens knows I'll never have a viral video on YouTube, but I can read the news to you. Speaking of the news, Tiger King, oh my goodness, have you heard about this thing? Everybody will tell you, you got to watch a Tiger King. Hey, you're stuck at home. Might as well watch a Tiger King, but maybe not. Maybe not. So I get the local news, and I read it every single day. A couple of days ago, I looked at the news about the Tiger King. Turns out, Tiger King was trying to have a partnership in business with Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars fame. You know Rick. Let me call a friend who knows about these things. Turns out Tiger King went to Rick Harrison way back in 2016, 2017, when the pawn shop on Las Vegas Boulevard was building what they call the Pawn Plaza. Pawn Plaza, if you don't know, is a container park type of setup where you have lots of little businesses in the parking lot. And so Rick Harrison was approached by the guy Jeff whatever from Tiger King and said, hey, I want to put my baby cub tigers here. People can play with them. We'll have a little animal habitat. It'll be cool. So Rick does what Rick does. He says, let me call a friend who knows about these things. Now, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he called a guy named Dirk Arthur. Now, if you don't know who that is, Dirk Arthur was one of the top-level exotic cat entertainers in the world for a very long time. And he had shows in Vegas, shows in Laughlin, shows in Reno. I mean, he played almost every venue in town for nearly 40 years. Dirk Arthur knew a few things and said, don't get involved with the Tiger King. I don't think he's taken very good care of the animals. They're hard to take care of. They require lots of permits. It's going to be complicated, but I have a bad feeling about the guy. And boy, was Dirk Arthur ever right. So Rick Harrison said no. Flash forward to 2017, and that's when the fun starts. Okay, so first of all, legal disclaimer. Everything I tell you right now comes from a third party. I'm not interjecting any opinion that things that didn't happen except for what I wrote down on a few pages of notes from what I researched from KTNV Action News and a great reporter named Darcy Spears. Darcy Spears reports that back in 2017, the county was tipped off that the cats that he was housing, which was a tiger, a lvsteven, which is a hybrid tiger and lion mix where you mate the two different breeds of cats together, lemurs and some cubs, were not being taken care of properly. Well, when the agricultural people, if that's who takes care of these things, I would imagine that they're involved, when the authorities came out, they found the cats were living in deplorable conditions. It turns out what he was doing, the two cubs were sick. He was taking the cats, breeding them, and then taking the cubs, shoving the cubs into suitcases and smuggling them into strip resorts so that people could pay money to have them opened up in the hotel room so you could play with these things in the hotel room. So you know that whole pets policy, I'm not even joking, that's like a thing, and he was breaking that, plus he was breaking the law, plus he was doing something terrible with the cats, which was breaking the bond. Laws be damned. He was breaking the bond between the mother and the cubs. We have cats, and I can tell you this right now, we have domesticated cats. Our domesticated cats, one of them came from a feral mother, and to this day, he's an older cat. He's like 16 or 17 years old, and to this day, he still acts like a kitten because he didn't have the bond with his mother. You can't do that, especially with these giant, huge, exotic wild cats that have brains 5 times larger than a domestic one. Anyways, when they went to investigate Mr. Tiger King's house, they found out that it was horrible and that the cats were sick and that he wasn't keeping them in good conditions. So what did they do? They impounded all the cats and they fined him $10,000. And while they impounded all the cats, they found a bunch of really bad things. They found semi-automatic you-know-whats that go boom, 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 because I like this video and I don't want YouTube to suppress it, so I can't say that word all the time. It's really arbitrary if I can get away with it. And those boom, boom, booms, those semi-automatic blanks, were actually somebody else's. And this gets real complicated. And I haven't watched Tiger King, and I'm not gonna, and I'll tell you why in a minute why I'm not gonna watch the documentary series. Turns out those things were involved in a murder for hire case. They weren't even his. So here's a tip for you. If you ever decide to house exotic cats, number 1, do it with compliance of the law. Number 2, don't have them sick. Number 3, don't smuggle them into hotel rooms. Number 4, don't keep somebody else's guns around that aren't yours, that are wanted and that are being looked for by federal agents in a murder for hire plot. Those are some tips for you today, kids. But he did all of those things. And then he was told, okay, you have to pay a $10,000 fine. You have to appear in court. Before all this, he was also having something called the Jungle Bus, where he would pick people up on the strip and bring them to a secret location somewhere in town where he would have people play with the cubs. These are not domesticated cats. You can't play with the cubs. These things are beasts that are gentle, and they're kittens and they're immature, but they look at things as though they're food and they might attack you. And that's just the fact. If you watch enough nature shows, my wife and I are very much into learning stuff, so we watch a lot of these shows. Anyways, he didn't appear in court. $10,000 fine. His lawyer said, yes, Jeff went back to Oklahoma. He's trying to make that money, but he doesn't know how to do it. Turns out Jeff was making a zoo. We'll get to that in just a minute. Yeah, the Oklahoma wild animal something or other. It's open. Wildwood, I think it's called. Well, it's closed now, but we'll get to that in a second. He also had 3 different appearances he had to make in court for his dirty deeds done with the tigers, where he was not keeping them in good shape, and he needed to appear and explain himself for that. Didn't appear for any of those either. So in 2019, he did make right with the state of Nevada. He did pay back his fine, but in the meantime, he's up in Oklahoma building a zoo and filming a Netflix special so he can make millions of dollars of that Netflix money. Millions of dollars, all stemming off of something that happened in Las Vegas. Crazy, right? And I'm sure there's a million different other details that I could go into if I could do a full-on documentary, but I want to get the news out now. So he can't come back to Las Vegas. That's what that is. You can't come back to Las Vegas. Now, it turns out the positive thing in this entire story is that these two cubs actually are somewhere in the Las Vegas area. I think they're in Pahrump, according to an article that I read a little bit later. Now, and those cats are actually doing well. There's a nice couple or family out there that is actually a real animal sanctuary type thing, and they took them in and they fixed their psychology out and they made sure they were safe and they fixed them up and they nursed them back to health. And I've been trying to get a hold of everybody involved in this case, including the Tiger King, but of course they don't reply, and including Dirk Arthur, but you know, entertainers, who knows what they're doing, and including the people in Pahrump. Maybe I'll get a chance to go over there and show the awesomeness that all came out of this, because some of the cats were rescued. Meanwhile, back in Oklahoma, this guy, the Tiger King, said, hey, no, we have to stay open at our zoo. You know, who cares about those whole thing where the Chinese virus is making everybody sick? We're an agricultural entity, so we're deemed an essential business. He even went so far as to lie to people and say that the state was on board. He talked to the governor personally. None of that happened either. So what do, right? So you want to watch something on Netflix and you fire it up, and because it's a trending thing, it's the very first thing that comes up, and then the trailer auto plays in most cases, which is a little annoying to start with. Stop auto playing the trailers, Netflix. And then you watch the special, and every time you stream it, Netflix counts it as a +1, +1, +1. Consider it a like on a video. Make sure you like this video. But every time he gets a stream, it's good. And if we get to the end and Netflix says, oh, you got 100 million streams, that's like 100 million movie tickets sold, or maybe 200 million if people are watching in tandem together, maybe they give the guy another production deal. It sucks. It's a bad situation. You know, animal rights people have a lot of altruistic, good senses about them, and this is a case where they stepped in and the Humane Society was there, and sometimes they go overboard. I remember being back in Calgary, Alberta, Canada during the Stampede time, and every single year there would be the animal rights people trying to protest the show and say that those animals are tortured, and they've even attacked the Kentucky Derby, saying that those animals are treated in deplorable conditions. And the truth is that, yeah, some people like the Tiger King, they treat their animals horribly. They don't take good care of them. There are some good apples in the bunch, people that love their animals, people that absolutely take care of them like they're their family members, and even those people get attacked sometimes. There's a guy named Gregory Popovich here. He's got Popovich Pet Theater, Popovic. Don't know if it's itch or ick. And he actually rescues his animals from the Humane Society, the lead animal shelter, the SPCA of Southern Nevada. And you know what? He gives them a second chance in life, and even he's been attacked for keeping them in bad conditions. But the truth is, those animals wouldn't be with us. So we have to look at things and say, how extreme is this? What's the whole story to it? That's a little bit of the whole story of the Tiger King. I hope you've enjoyed that. This was a hard video to make because of all my notes. I had to film it a few times. If you appreciate that, please leave a comment below whether or not you're going to watch the Tiger King. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to this video. Hit the bell for the future notifications. If you want to be in the comments or credits, I keep saying comments. If you want to be in the credits of this video, head on over to Patreon. I'll put you in as soon as you're there. You'll be in the next day's video. If you want to see the videos that I can't put on YouTube because they like the word that's a semi-automatic pew-pew that I can't say on YouTube because they don't like those things mentioned, I do those kinds of videos there too once a week. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. And we're going to go now. 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching, and click.